Our next session is toward a new economic order, the arrival of the Indian era. We'll deep dive into the present and future of India as a startup superpower, truly leading the global economy. 新たな拍手でお迎えください。よろしくお願いします。
引き続き、インドセッションもすみません、モデレーションさせていただきます、増田です。Thank you so much, you folks, joining this India session. Actually, already explained a quick summary of what's going on in India in the morning. Then now I'd like to give you some opportunity to tell anything about India more specific to audience, because audience, I would say 95% people raise hand who went to India already and then showed great interest, corporates and investors. So I'd like please explain what's going on, honest opinion please today. Okay. So first of all, I'd like you to introduce yourself, but maybe quickly introduce briefly in Japanese a little bit. 基本的にはドイツ訳ありますけども、こちらの秀さん、インドのアドテク AI 動画系の方、来年なんと株式公開をインドでやる予定の方、そしてビンリーのサムさん、大消費時代に向けてコーヒーのですね、日本でいうとスターバックスから来てのドトールコーヒー、エクセションコーヒー、こういう流れに来てるんですけど、今インドがどんどん若い人がですね、コーヒーを飲んで、そういった大消費時代の、急成長の開始さん、そして右の彼はAI ですね、AI を使ったエージェント AI 生成、そちらで、急速にですね、大手クライアントをインドで開拓している、アルニーさんですね。はい。I just did finish a quick summary of what your quick intro in Japanese. So why don't you start, Hitesh, who you are, what you're doing, and then what your business expectation in the near future in India.
Hi.
You're global.
Hi, I'm Hitesh. I founded Silverpush about 12 years back. So, like Hiro said, we are in advertising, a tech company with brands, agencies using our product. Started from India. In fact, Japan has a big role to play in where we are. Early days, Hiro backed us and has been backing us forever. And then also Freak Out from Japan. So all the early years, we raised money from Japan, and that helped us build and grow early years. Not just money-wise, but also support-wise, global support, and that helped us early days, get into Southeast Asia, Japan, and now last few years, most of our focus has been US and Europe, with more than 70% of our revenue now comes from developed markets like US and UK. So, like I said, because of this, how India has a talent factory, and how we can build products from there, and which can go global from there. Thank you.
Sam, please.
Hi. So everybody, I think Hiro-san pretty well explained what's happening in India. I think we're going through a very large wave of disruption. We're a country which is going to be very high on consumer demand. So in obviously a very sticky category in India, which is coffee, which is one of the most sticky categories in the business. We're building a consumer brand called Beanly. We're building it for the audience that's going to be our largest consumer segment going into the next 10 years. 870 million Gen Zs and millennials. So we're building a coffee company for that. We have around 450 Gen Zs and around 370 million millennials. So between those two audiences, we're bound to spend over $5 trillion in private spending as a country now. So consumer demand is going to be really high. It's obviously catalyzed by quick commerce. Quick commerce is a very large operation. Obviously, currently it is only 15 to 20% of India's FMCG consumption, but it's bound to be very large going into the future. I'll talk more about it later on, but mainly it's going to be a coffee company in that consumer segment.
Yes. By the way, the mainly and for me, we'll do the quick pitch later on. So please show your business later on. So okay. So Adi, quick intro, please.
Hello to everyone. Agentic Universe is a horizontal AI platform that primarily focuses on GTM teams, that is sales, support and service. Largely, we are a platform where large enterprises come onto our platform and build outcome-first agents that can think, act and also speak almost like a human being altogether. Personally, me myself, I dropped out of college in my third year with my friends to recreate the entire social network story back home in India. Very fascinated and grew up watching Mark and Steve. And the aspiration is to be able to, do it all over again, but out of India for the world. As of business, I believe large logo-wise, we work with almost all the large logos back home. This year we are poised to do about $11 million US, and yeah, that's what we do.
Thank you so much. So today the three different area speakers here. So maybe I'll give you the very specific question about your industry, because all three people can cover most of the very good, interesting trend in India. Okay, so starting with the sound, okay, mainly. I already explained India is now facing with a huge consumption era, especially the Z generation, the 15 to 25-year-old people ready to pay a lot of things, buying a lot of things, right? So, and also the very good trend is the quick commerce. Prominent trend is quick commerce. So you also utilize quick commerce. So the number one, what do you expect G generation to consume more? And then what type of occasion people are willing to pay? Number two, what do you think about quick commerce? Quick commerce is quite specific in India. So do you expect the quick commerce is growing more, or what will be the quick commerce, the situation in the near future? And then finally, the coffee. A lot of people understand that India has a tea culture, but now you're tackling into the coffee, market. Japan, a lot of people feel, 10 years ago, everybody feels like Japan is a tea country, okay? But now a lot of people drink coffee. So same situation happening in India, right? So can you explain what type of coffee culture India can establish? Because a huge tea culture, but how do you tackle into the tea culture? So those three components: one, consumption era; two, quick commerce; three, the dynamic change of culture. Yes, not changing everything, but maybe working together, right? Coffee and tea, right? So anyway, the market.
Perfect. I think those are three absolutely point-on questions about the Indian consumption wave and how it's changing. Gen Zs, I think we have around 370 million Gen Zs in India today, and they definitely are going to lead consumption going into the next 15-20 years plus. So this generation of Gen Zs is very different from the Indians that you saw that wore kurta pajamas and walked out, and I think that part of India has changed very, very significantly. There is this natural aspiration towards the West. So when you look at the Gen Zs, they're suddenly looking a lot more westward. They're looking at Bollywood movies, Hollywood movies. They're looking at everything that could be more aspirational than their parents were, than their grandparents were. So this generation is consuming very differently. I think none of their habits are similar to what their parents, grandparents, or even our generations were. They're consuming on YouTube. The amount of content they consume, we probably have the cheapest internet in the country that's there in the world. So they're looking and trying and aspiring to be more West-like. So consumption habits are definitely changing. As an economy, I think India still buys 85% of their everyday requirement outside of quick commerce. This is from retail stores and other stores outside. So quick commerce is only 15 to 20% of the Indian consumption story. But why it's so interesting is India is such a large consumption environment that today India is spending nearly $4 trillion on quick commerce alone. And that instantaneous impulse purchase and behavior is usually the high spending audience of the Indian consumer. So that audience is definitely only buying off quick commerce. So that 20% that you're seeing on quick commerce is creme de la creme. It is probably the highest spending that you've seen. Private spends have gone up 100% over the last 4 years. So there is very large change happening in India on quick commerce. For brands, when we look at quick commerce, I think for brands for me personally, we've been an online first brand for a very long time, but this year marked a very significant change in our strategy. We did want to start building our own distribution channel, which could tomorrow entail into having quick coffee supplies via quick commerce or anything else. And there was a reason behind it. FMCG alone and relying on anybody else's distribution channel alone does not build a brand. And overall, I think for quick commerce may be great, but the unit economics for quick commerce are still being defined, and for the next 5 years, they're going to still be a work in progress. So once that gets set in stone, it may be very competitive for consumer brands to be on. Hence, a lot of consumer brands are building an omni-channel strategy. That's how I think the consumer market is going to grow. Uh, to talk about the last question, which is coffee versus tea. When we started in the business, this was back in 2018. It looked bad. It looked very different. We were manufacturing for some of India's biggest coffee companies and some of the largest coffee companies that came to India. And for every 12 cups of tea that India consumed, we consumed 1 cup of coffee. Today that number is for every 8 cups of tea, India consumes 1 cup of coffee, and that number is only going to grow because the Gen Z and millennial population, the Gen Z 370 million Gen Zs, 450 million millennials that you see in India are actually going to start consuming more coffee than tea because they're aspiring to be more West. Like anything that your parents had and your grandparents had is not something that they aspire to have. Today, that generation is already spending more, having coffee, moving away from the kurta pajamas and moving into jeans and t-shirts. So India's changing and India's changing fast. So that habit of coffee is going to come in. Where we differentiate very significantly over Starbucks and any other operator in India, I think price points and that approach and being forward for Gen Z. From our marketing, branding, we cater to this audience that we're totally in love with, which are the Gen Zs and millennials. So we cater it for them from our price points to our marketing and branding. I think that should have answered all three questions.
Thank you so much. Seeing is believing, right? So maybe even some people travel to India already, but maybe you recommend them to go to India again to visit your shop, right?
Actually, yes, please do visit Beanly and come down, have coffee at a Beanly, and if not, we're carrying a lot of samples, so please, we will be sampling today again. Please come down and get samples. We'd be happy to get you all to taste Beanly.
Where are you gonna put your sample, over there or there?
That's something that whenever Master let us
Okay.
let us sample Beanly.
Please, provide some space for him to share the samples. ビーニーから皆さんプレゼントで彼らのコーヒーインスタントで持ってきてますので後で持って帰って家で飲んでみてください。美味しい、飲みやすいですすごく。Okay, now Neil, I asked a question about the AI. Okay, my understanding of the big trend of AI is established US and China already, but still there are huge chances for the platform layers and application layer, and your service is one of the application layer, right? So you're gonna do a pitch later on. So maybe this case, I'd like to to show what's your general thought about AI in India, and then also the chances for startups, and also you're backed by a campus fund, which means you used to be students, but not long time ago, really recently. So what do you observe, the scene on campus? A lot of students now working on AI. That's my impression. So what's your expectation of the student behavior or maybe intention to learn more about AI on campus? So can you explain AI related situation in India?
Sure. So I believe that the one word that Sam used that makes a lot of sense for answering the entire question is aspirational. In terms of AI, we are aspirational. We want to be at the forefront. In terms of students building AI, we are aspirational. We want to be at the forefront in terms of innovation and in terms of technology altogether and lead from the front. The most, I believe, controversial news back home right now is how is China and US doing so much, but we back home, all that we are doing is funding quick commerce companies to get like chips in 10 minutes and not investing deeply in technology and innovating on the technology front and leading for that. In terms of AI, I believe almost every enterprise today back home, they want to be able to adopt and experiment. But the biggest problem that ends up happening is AI is very new, especially on the GTM front, where people want to use conversational AI to one replace human beings and make increase efficiency altogether. As it's new, companies are figuring it out still. While on the GTM end, it is absolutely new in terms of replacing people and agentic technology is new altogether. I believe RPA and workflow automation, it is already very mature. People are trying to understand how do we take workflow automation, engagement automation that already exists and agentify that altogether. So that is how I believe AI back home in India today is. When it comes to campuses, I believe that you know quite a lot of students go to the US or like go to another country to be able to do their masters, largely to get exposure. This exposure in one way helps them to understand how they can lead from the front, either in a corporate setting or in an entrepreneurial setting. As we know, almost every large company is run by an Indian, primarily because of the exposure that they've gotten and the aspirational values that they have, that they've gotten from their parents. I believe that even in India today, at least at colleges, that aspirational value still holds. Your college promotes innovation. It asks students to be able to innovate in many ways, such as projects within your classrooms. As a matter of fact, in my college, they had told me not to come to class, not to write certain exams, and just focus on building my startup. There was a place called as Innovation Center in my college, MIT, in India, and all that we had to do was build our startup, generate revenue, launch product, and then classes and everything else was taken care of by the dean of our college. So aspirational and do more than what you possibly can is the overall emotion.
It totally makes sense. One of my Indian friends' son graduated from Columbia University, and then he took the AI class. And after the graduation, he took a job at NVIDIA. Then the first the annual salary was like 50K USD plus stock option. Oh my God, it's so expensive. But not so many people can go abroad, right? Studying in the US. So nowadays I see, as you said, a lot of universities set up all AI courses. Now people are trying to learn AI out of such courses. And so I see that more engineering people can be more AI oriented. So it's going to be really dynamic change, right? That totally makes sense.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest reasons why we want to innovate and why we want to disrupt is because there are very few people in India who can actually go abroad. And when you innovate and when you disrupt, you get opportunities like how I have today to be able to sit here and speak and to tell people how we are innovating back home. So I think that is the aspiration that we have.
インドは本当に若い世代の AI の学びのスピードとあと規模感がすごく速くて大勢いるので、すごい国になるかもしれません AI に関しても。はい。So now let's move on to Hitesh. So I'd like to ask you several different questions. Okay. So now you use the technology for advertisement and then globalization of your business and also IPO. So mainly three-dimension things. Can you describe what's going on around you? So number one, again, your business itself, right? Then globalization and IPO.
Okay. So very different.
Yeah, today I gave a quick summary at the beginning. Then did a huge, a lot of things, right? So you can cover three topics.
Yeah, so I'll start with the first one, which is the whole advertising space. It's actually being, disrupted, or I would say everything is changing so fast in last 1 year, probably due to AI. In every element in media you could think of, it started with creatives when Gen AI came, and then now every other aspect, which is whether it's optimization, operations, like all the media operations are being now moving towards AI agents doing all the ops. So a lot of jobs are downsizing. All the agencies are downsizing. Like if you look, just see in US and UK or overall Europe, probably WPP, which is the biggest, one of the biggest agencies globally, has brought down their headcount by close to 50%, all because of AI. And this change is happening now because of that. And of course, demand for tech is growing, but it's also impacting people. But like I said, tech is replacing, as in it's not just supporting people anymore, it's actually replacing jobs. And especially in ad tech. And we've been, a company, because we've set our roots in India, that helps in the sense that we always have access to talent. And we've been able to innovate faster than global counterparts, because all the AI investment, for example, in US would be going, all the AI talent would go to Google, Facebook, and not in ad tech. But that helps for other countries, then we can build faster and be better than our global competitors. So for us, it's a very positive development, and we've been doing well with the whole AI wave. Yeah, so that's on the tech part. The other was global.
You are expanding really global, many countries,
Yes.
right? But from India to global. So
Yes.
that context.
For us, it's been a beautiful journey. We started from India, and in all the early years, we focused on emerging markets because we thought it's easiest, not very expensive, similar to India. So we went to countries like Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, built teams in these markets. Then when COVID happened, that's when we realized everything is now remote, so why not start testing US remotely, and started seeing good response. And last 5 years, we've built, now our biggest team is in US. Last 2 years, we've gone into each of the European countries. Now we have teams in all the key European markets, Japan, Australia. So now we've fully covered the developed markets, and the idea is now to keep covering or growing the coverage within these markets over next 2-3 years. And I feel that next 2 years we should be one of the biggest ad tech companies now globally.
Sounds good. And then IPO. So I think a lot of people here in this country, nowadays the IPO a little bit tougher than before. Okay, but India looks like it's so booming, and then you're planning to IPO next year. So what do you think about India IPO opportunity, and what's your expectation about your company IPO?
So right now IPO market is booming in India. Like it's very hot. In fact, average startups are also being able to raise money in the public markets. So I would say next 2 years it's still golden period for tech or any consumer startups doing IPOs in India. The only limitation is that India only allows local companies, so not that companies from here can go and do IPO there, but there are major investment opportunities in India because of that. Most of the companies who are going IPO are either doing pre-IPO rounds, raising capital just before going IPO. So there are massive investment opportunities for funds or people here. And same for us. We've been profitable for a long time, and the only reason that we've been delaying or we've delayed is because of our global expansion, and we wanted to grow further and focus less on profits, because as soon as you go public, the expectation is to start focusing more on profits. So next year is what we are now planning to go public.
Sounds good. Very exciting moment, right? Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So we got all insights from 3 people about the different area, right? So India, I've still heard a lot of people like, oh, India looks very attractive, but not so easy to get into the market from Japanese people. Maybe you can do some suggestion, like maybe the first step you just invest my company, something like that, right? Or do you have any idea or any suggestion for audience to come to Indian market, like as an investor or a corporate? Sam, your suggestion is as a visit your shop and then take your coffee, right?
I think yes, absolutely. In case India is looking like a difficult market to enter into, Beanley's open, Beanley stores are open. Come down, you'll find lots of interesting people coming, working out of there, and you'll find an opportunity to come there. But on a more serious note, I don't know how tough it is on a compliance part for anybody to enter India and come and work out of India. But the opportunity is large enough for the effort to be made. I think it's going to be one of the most compounding markets over the next 5 to 10 years. So it's going to be an opportunity to come in and work out of India.
Thank you. So how about you, Andy?
So to be able to enter the Indian market, like one would be partner and second would be do it on your own. When it comes to partner, I believe that there is great synergy between the Japanese market and the Indian market to be able to come together. And the primary reason for that is when it comes to hardware and manufacturing altogether, I believe that it has not been a core focus for India as a country for the last 15 to 20 years, all the way from defense, space, electronics. China was the hub for a very long period of time. Now it's a focus for us, but I believe that there is a very big vacuum of talent and vision to be able to move very fast in hardware as a sector or as a market altogether. The market or a sector that we are very, very strong in terms of talent and also vision is software, something that we've been doing very well for the last 20-25 years, all the way from Infosys to a servam.ai now, as a matter of fact. So I believe that there is a synergy in terms of partnering there and entering. And in terms of doing it on your own, I believe that India is a very easy market to be able to get in. If you have no barriers, by just saying, just do this much for me, just do this much for me, you can get a lot of things done from us, right? We work, we don't need, strong referrals or commitments from the other party. We just need keenness to be able to work, and we start working. So I think that makes a very big difference in being able to getting started in India.
Got it. Okay, so Hitesh, so you have your Japan office. Okay, so you're already working together with your Japanese country manager, and then you expanding your customer network here. So what do you expect Japan market?
So like every country is very unique in nature, but Japan is as in it's good also, but also bad in one sense. People look for perfection here. they go into every minute detail. Like, you know, in any other country, I've never seen this level of detail. They look at, even at, whether it's a team, whether it's clients, they go into detail. They test everything, every little thing. And once they're confident, then that's when they start scaling business with you. So like I said, this is also negative from the perspective that it takes long time to build trust here. But the best part is once you build that trust, they don't change. They don't, you know, think of working with anyone else. So once they build that trust, they'll continue working with you. So it's like, you know, automatically that trust creates a barrier for anyone else to come in and replace you.
Okay, that makes sense. Sometimes it takes time to establish a better relationship with Japanese people, right?
Once you build that trust, then
Okay.
it's replaced.
So let me move to the funding question. Funding, okay. So Sam, Anil, you guys doing fundraising. Of course, for any Indian startup, keep doing fundraising. Quite important, right? When you see some people or some potential investor, you better encourage them to invest in your company. That's a kind of basic attitude of CEO, right? Right. Totally understand. So. You already did the first funding from some institutional investors as well. But now, what do you expect Japanese investors be in your one of your shareholders on the cap table? Do you think Japanese people investor can be preferable for you on the cap table, or anything you are expecting to Japanese people as an investor? Do you have any comment for that? You have a lot of Indian people around you, right? But still you show interest getting Japanese people on your cap table. Why is that?
The primary reason, at least for us, is to be able to enter Japan as a market in terms of GTM. Primarily because my COO led sales for a very large company called as Ultimate Chronos Group, and they always used to compete with a company called SAP and Oracle. So SAP won Japan as a market, and when they really built trust out of Japan, the entire APAC market was very easy for them. Oracle, they went the APAC route, they couldn't enter Japan and they still struggle. So we see Japan being a very key market for us to be able to go into. And second, to be able to have a Japanese investor on your cap table would send out a very strong message in terms of how you want to be able to establish a presence in Japan. So I think those are the two primary reasons why we are looking for a Japanese investor.
It's quite honored to hear that. So how about you, Sam?
So I think for Bindi, there is more of a strategic reason to have someone from Japan on our cap table. I think it's a more developed ecosystem. So the knowledge pool that we get access to when we get someone from here is far better in comparison to the Indian investors. Japan's seen that entire transition from tea to coffee before, and the way they've gone through exactly what India is going through today. So it'd be amazing to have all that knowledge on your cap table, plus someone from a more developed ecosystem comes in with their own share of knowledge that they could bring to us.
Totally makes sense. Also, you use some Japanese technology on your product, right?
Yes, absolutely. We work very strongly with Fuso out of Japan, who are the suppliers for drip bag roll materials for us. In fact, they were our first partners when we started this business, and went on to expand their business of drip bag roll papers in India through us. We indirectly manufactured for every coffee brand in India in the FMCG segment, from Tim Hortons, Blue Tokai, Third Wave, any brand that came to India, we used to manufacture with Japanese paper and equipment in India. So there is a very, very significant upside that we saw in working with Japanese people.
So now, as a senior, experienced person in a startup ecosystem, Hitesh, you have a lot of experience in working together with Japanese investors, right? Then you have a lot of experience in working together with Japanese people to do your business in Japan, for example. Anything like a comment, okay? Can I ask you the comments? Is it good experience or bad experience? And then any hints or advice to these folks? So what do you think about Japan people?
Okay, so investors, I've already covered the business side. But on the investor side, I think it's equal, very much the same in the sense that they are there for long term. I think all the Japanese investors we have on our cap table, including Mashita-san, they never talk about exit. Whenever there's a secondary opportunity available to exit and get a good return, they want to wait. They stay with you as long as you feel that you are confident. They'll continue backing you. So that's the biggest difference I've seen from other probably India funds. That they're there for the long haul.
Well, not everybody is not the same, but thank you. He has a good experience, right? So, but anyway, but you have also bad experience also, right? Maybe you can give some hint. Maybe getting a Japanese investor on your cap table, okay, but you should be careful for this part. Anything like advice to them, like don't choose this type of people, even the Japanese people, something like that. Anything?
I think little bit, you always have to be careful that when you are doing, raising the money from strategic reasons that they'll help you get into the market. It should not be the only reason, or that's not a reason that's ever worked for us, for any investor in fact, the same for Japan. Like I said, only from the perspective that they're very long-term thinking, 100%, but just with the reason that they'll support you in, as in getting into the market and building the market, I think that didn't work for us.
Okay, so almost time's up. So only one quick question from audience. Anybody? Okay, please go ahead.
So as India,
Yes. Anybody specific or in general?
I think I will go with general question.
Okay.
So as India is entering it in its what you call it as a Indian era, its era. How do you see this balance between creating for the domestic market versus creating a globally competitive product?
That's a very good question. So quickly, especially Anil, you said the reason we're coming here in this country is try to get more knowledge and customers, for example. So his question quite appropriate to you. So what do you think? Balance, domestic target, India, and then global.
I believe that when you're building applications, the most important thing is localization altogether. Localization happens largely when you build a brand, at least in the B2B space that I am in, and brands happen when you have a lot of big logos with you for a very long period of time. The other thing when it comes to solutioning or applications altogether is every time you enter a new market, you have a platform, but there is a great degree of localization that you have to do. So gestation periods are much longer when it comes to globally scaling an application level product. When it comes to balance between domestic and global, I believe that solutioning should be domestic, but when you are building a platform, you must have a global perspective in terms of building a competitive edge, understanding what is already working globally, and understanding where you could build in terms of niche. Like, for example, system integration, and to be able to bring multiple systems together is something India has done for a very long period of time. But to build a very specific part and do that very well is something that we've not excelled in, like a foundation model. We don't have a strong foundation model yet. But to be able to bring it all together and to be able to scale that up, we've done that very well. So largely understanding what your niche is in, doubling down on that, while localization should be a priority. So
just quick answer, please, Hitesh, because you're already at global, right? So what's a kind of optimized balance?
So it depends a lot on what you want to achieve. I mean, India is very different compared to, let's say, any other market. So building for India will be, you have to go deep and very different type of customers. But if you have to, let's say, build for US, or if you want to build a company which goes into US, then it won't be like you build for India and you can, as it is, start selling in US. You have to think other way around. You have to start first thinking US, that how start working with customers there. It won't be that you've done something in India, it will work in US. Other ways might still work, but go to US first if you want to do US or Japan or any of the developed markets. So think very differently. You have to go there first, spend time, learn locally, think like them, spend time. Only then probably. I mean, for us, it took us like 5 years just to get the first developed market right, because the journey is very different, no matter what you've done in India. So, but again, you have to still win your home market, because if you go into US and you've never done anything in India, they'll again not trust you. So you have to do both together. So yeah, you have to find a balance for both.
Thank you so much. Okay, so lastly, just quick one last message to audience, please. Audience is quite diversified, but everybody show interest in the Indian market. So just the last, the message to them. Then let's finish this session. Okay, so starting with you.
I believe I would like to give one message to everyone, that would be Indians are aspirational. When I say aspirational, we want to be able to understand how we can be at the forefront of almost everything. So I believe that there is great potential for Japanese investors and companies to be able to collaborate with companies exactly like ours, to be able to innovate together, because there is a very big amount of synergy. So I think India is the place to be, largely because of the mindset and the attitude. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
So Sam, quickly.
Yeah, I think very similarly, I'll just add a small layer to it. Other than being aspirational, there is a large growth in GDP that's happening in India, and it's leading to a premiumization curve. So consumerism is on the rise. You'll see a larger consumer market in India. So I think plenty of opportunities coming from India now.
Hitesh, please.
So another dimension I can add, which is the public markets are now booming in India and will continue booming for next 2 years. So it's a good investment opportunity for any investor from here. In fact, Mashita-san has set up his fund and has created that story. So easy to know or find out how it's been done, but an amazing place to invest right now.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. So everybody, thank you so much for joining this session, and then please give a big applause to the audience. Thank you so much.
ありがとうございました。今後のインドの時代がどうなっていくのかとても楽しみですね。